Welcome back to Module 1 of our accessibility training. This video focuses on exploring different accessibility challenges and potential barriers to accessing web content. Users interact with web content in many different ways. For example, one user might use a screen reader to access text content, while another might increase the font size to be able to access it. These differences in use only become barriers if the website's design does not account for them. In our previous example, including text that cannot be processed by screen readers or scaled up creates barriers for these example users. Too often, accessibility is a retroactive process, patching over previously inaccessible design when its flaws are pointed out. While retrofitting old web content for accessibility is vital, we want to emphasize the importance of designing for accessibility from the start. This approach takes responsibility for the accessibility of web content, rather than forcing the user to constantly self-advocate for accommodation. To be able to consider how different users may interact with web content, we're going to overview how disabilities and other circumstances may influence a user's web experience, as well as standard design practices that can be implemented to accommodate each of these situations. As we go through these examples, though, keep in mind that accessibility is not a one-size-fits-all solution. If a user requests accommodations outside those we recommend here, meet their needs. The main priority of accessibility is to enable access to persons with disabilities. As such, this will be where we start, with exploring how disabilities may change a user's experience with web content, as well as providing design solutions to enable their access. These examples are not comprehensive, nor meant to suggest a prototypical user. Instead, they are merely intended to illustrate possible situations where disability might impact a user's interaction with web content, and how this interaction can be enabled using accessibility-focused design. Visual disabilities, such as low vision, blindness, color blindness, or others, can impact a user's experience with web content. For example, a user with low vision or blindness might use a screen reader to assist them in accessing web content. Designing web content in a way that can be processed by the screen reader, therefore enabling access to this user, includes practices such as using alt text for images or anchor text for hyperlinks. Auditory disabilities, such as low hearing or deafness, can change how a user accesses audio components. For example, a user with low hearing or deafness may need captions to be able to access the audio content of a video. A user with a mobility or dexterity impairment may have difficulty manipulating a mouse to click a small checkbox. Giving clickable elements a greater clickable area, or enabling these elements to be interacted with by keyboard, can reduce this challenge. Cognitive impairments and learning disabilities may affect a user's ability to concentrate on or parse complex language. Using plain language and breaking up long paragraphs of text can help with this. Neurological disorders, such as migraines or seizures, can affect the type of content a user can safely view. For example, bright or flashing lights may trigger migraines or seizures. Content should therefore not be designed in a way that is known to provoke this reaction. However, disabilities are not the only accessibility challenge users may face when accessing web content. Other challenges can be circumstantial, environmental, or even societal or cultural. Here are some examples. Illness, including mental illness, can severely drain a user's energy and make it difficult for them to concentrate on information. Web content that requires precise concentration or complicated interaction can be inaccessible to someone experiencing illness. Content should therefore operate in predictable ways, and text should be plain and divided into manageable paragraphs. Concentration and focus are similarly affected by sleep deprivation. Again, short paragraphs, bullet points, and plain text all help make content accessible for users in these circumstances. Certain stimuli, such as images, sounds, or content, may evoke a trauma response in users. Clearly signaling where potentially triggering content may appear, and allowing the user to skip this content without losing information, is highly suggested. A poor internet connection can also present significant challenges to accessing web content, especially images and videos. Including text alternatives for these heavier types of content enables access for users in this situation. As you may have noticed from the previous examples, many design best practices help address multiple accessibility challenges at once. For example, consider how one design solution, captions, can benefit users in many different situations. Captions provide a written alternative to audio content for users who have low hearing or deafness. They also provide assistance for users with auditory processing disorders. Maybe a user is trying to listen to a video in a noisy environment. Captions enable them to read along to the content. Some multilinguals are more familiar in their secondary languages with reading written language than interpreting spoken language. Captions help these users better understand spoken language in a video. Many academics cite video content in written work. Captions and transcripts provide assistance with the process of translating spoken language into written language. There are countless other situations in which users might benefit from captions, and this is just one design practice. By implementing several standard accessibility-focused design practices, you can reduce challenges, remove barriers, and increase access for everyone.